So let's just jump right in. Here are my scars. You guys know the deal already. This is how my skin looks prior to applying any kind of makeup, scarring, redness, and all of that good stuff. So before applying my foundation, I'm going to prime my skin, of course. So I'm applying my Dr. Brant Pores No More primer. This primer helps with pore minimizing and mattifying as well. So to cover up my scars and to give me a flawless base, I'm using my IT Cosmetics Confidence in a Compact Foundation. This is like full coverage and it has a really nice natural finish, and I'm applying this with the IT Cosmetics brush as well. I posted a mini video of this foundation on my Instagram, and a lot of people were asking me if it's good for oily skin, and it is, but I do still suggest powdering your face a little bit, at least your T-zone, if that's where you're most oily. This foundation has a little bit more of a satin finish, so I feel like it would be good for both dry and oily skin. Once my skin is nice and even, I moved on to contouring. So I'm contouring or bronzing with my Wet n Wild contour stick. You guys know I've been loving this. I love a warm tone bronze contour, and on my forehead I apply it directly from the stick, and then on my cheeks I apply it with a brush. When I did a first impression on this product, it did get a little bit patchy when I applied it straight away from the stick onto my cheeks. So lesson learned, now I just apply it with a brush. I then use anything that's left over to bronze up my nose. Not really contour at this time, more like just bronzing. And to make sure everything is nice and blended and seamless, I tap my skin with my Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. For my under eyes, I'm using the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye Concealer. A little bit of this concealer goes an extremely long way. Do not be heavy-handed with this because it can get a little bit creasy underneath the eyes, so just be a little bit light-handed with it. But this concealer has great coverage, and it really brightens up underneath the eyes. I'm actually applying this with an eye brush. It's like a mini tapered blending brush, so I'm just applying it underneath the eyes and on my nose, and then again I blend it out with my Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. To set my face, I'm using my trusty Coty Airspun Loose Face Powder, and I'm packing this all over underneath my eyes, also on my chin, my forehead, and on my nose, basically all over my face. And this time I did let it sit on my skin for a little bit before blending it out. Typically I just tap it on there and blend it out right away, but this time I did bake a little bit. For the eyes, we're keeping it super basic. I'm using the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette and using these two shades as my transition shade. Then I'm taking a really pretty pink color. This has a little bit of a shimmer to it, and I'm applying this all over my lid with the shading brush. And then I went back in with the transition colors that I applied previously just to amp up the eyes a little bit. Of course, for bronzing, you guys already know, MAC Mineralize Skin Finish. I'm applying this all over my cheeks. I ended up switching brushes, but I'm applying this on my cheeks, my forehead, and that's it. Then I'm going to move on to highlighting. To highlight, I'm using another product from the Peach collection from Too Faced, and I'm using this palette, taking the highlight shade and applying that all over the highest points of my cheekbones, the tip of my nose, and my Cupid's bow. For lashes, I'm using some of my favorites. These are the Creme Shop lashes in the style 805. They're very wispy, and they're a little bit tapered, so at the end they're longer than towards the inner corner. And then I just applied some mascara. This one is from Pure Cosmetics. And then I actually applied blush today. I used one from Milani. This one's really pretty. It has a nice shimmer to it, and it's like a pinky peach color. So I put that on my cheeks, and then I also applied a little bit on my nose just to give me more of an overall blushed rosy look. For lips, I did go in with my Urban Decay lip liner in Interrogate, which is the same lip color I was wearing in one of my previous videos. This look is actually from one of my last videos that a lot of people were requesting, but I felt like it was too light, so later on I go in with MAC Cosmetics Burnt Spice, which is a little bit deeper, but it's still a pretty nude. Then I just set my face with Urban Decay All Nighter, and that completes the look.